good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
What's greetings, Earth?
Same genius time.
In the demographic I identify with.
I don't believe you murder.
I think an ignorant voter and a non-voter
what he did. He took the military out
are
before
one and
he
the
took
same.
the civilians.
Same
Who does
genius
that?
channel.
Under his watch.
What
Know
has he
something,
done
bro.
about police reform in this country? Nothing.
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to Unsolicited Genius. I am your curator, Carlton Ennis. I am joined today by the brainiac that's back for the attack, Craig Lindo, and Brock Purdy better act like he knows Mo Lotfi. On today's show, we will talk about relationships, Brock Purdy's spurts, and thanking God because he did it again. We hope to give you something to ponder.
Listening to
Fellas, the three amigos, the triple threats is back together. What is up?
Chilling, man. Chilling. How y'all boys doing?
All right, man. We all right. Happy
know what
day,
it
happy
is.
day.
Between sky and earth and ain't touching dirt. Happy for it.
Amen, he said. So before we get into the topics of the day, what's on your mind, Brother Craig?
Primarily, my diet, I'm on day 99 of year 22 in my career, but I'm also on day 17 of a new diet. So that's my little micro obsession right now.
You gonna tell us what you're
I
doing,
hate
or is
being
that
sore, by the way. Like, I don't know how I did this when I was younger. I don't.
Move past
This
that
working
shit,
out.
but I'll try.
Oh my God. The recovery. It's so much different now. Oh.
Uncle Mo? What's on your mind for the day?
What's on my mind, man? Debo Samuel's health, baby. He got into limited practice today, Carlton. Let's go. Let's go. Catching passes, running around. Let's go. I always knew they were going to shoot up that shoulder, man. Ain't no way he's missing this game.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're shooting up that shoulder, Craig. He's not missing this game. Y'all saw Playmakers when it was on ESPN. They're shooting up that shoulder.
Yeah, for the 2 episodes they gave us.
You saw Lawrence Taylor in Any Given Sunday. He needed to get that sack to get that million.
All right. So our headliners for today is different. You know, we've covered a lot of topics. We talked a lot of things, but rare have we just started the show with something that wasn't politics in nature. But relationships, right? In the intro, I talked about, we'll talk about relationships, but the reason and the aspect of relationships I'm bringing forth to you, gentlemen, is from where I sit, at minimum, when I scroll the internets, it appears that the relationship that I thought we all were in pursuit of is under attack. Whether it be Don't Take Me to the Cheesecake Factory, whether it be the one that's just gone viral, the side chick explaining, you know, the rationale why, you know, she benefits better in this dynamic than the wife and the kids, whether it's the, you know, term that gets tossed around, often misapplied, of male toxicity and the obsession around who should be doing what. Men do this, women do this. You're not a man if you don't do this. You're not a woman if you don't do that. It's just a lot of stuff being tossed about relationships. And the one thing that I'm not seeing is the love. You know, there's no Boys to Men, there's no Jodeci, there's no Brian McKnight, there is no Purple Rain. It's just angst and agitation.
But there is Sexy Red in Pound Town.
So my question, and you go where you go, Bo, we'll start with you. Why does it seem that relationships and romance attached to relationships is under attack?
Social media. Social media got people chasing, and Doc, people really believe the things they see on social media are like real life. So you're trying to chase something that's really, in a lot of ways, unattainable. Like even for those rich people, they're not spending every day in Turks and Caicos. And when people post pictures of their relationship on social media, they're posting the happy parts. No one's posting the arguments and all the other shit you have to do to make a relationship work. You know, like as I've gotten older, man, whether it's my relationship with my wife or even my relationship with y'all, which is a different relationship in nature, the key to any successful relationship is putting in work. And when you could go to like social media and basically live a fantasy life that's not, you know, dealing with reality, it makes you think that, you know, I could just focus on the good stuff that I want to focus in on, not realizing, you know, it takes a lot of work to maintain a relationship, man. Because anybody that's been in a relationship knows, or in a successful relationship knows, it's not about the Cheesecake Factory. It's not about any of that shit. It's about, you know, things that I still struggle with, communication, for example. Listening to that person, you know, actively listening when that person talks. You know, I think like, and I'm guilty of this, man, social media has made our attention span like, it's like we all have ADHD, Carlton. You on Instagram, right? You scrolling, you see one post, just keep going. So you get things in those quick, like flash by your eyes chunks. And that's not how real life is. You know, when you get home, you can't just gloss over what your wife is saying. You actually have to pay attention to her and have a legitimate response to the things she's saying. You know, all men have built-in responses like, yeah, babe, oh, can't believe that. Why would you say that? But there's times where you actually have to listen and give like candid responses that actually have involve thought and thinking. So, you know, I think social media is just kind of like made people lose touch with what reality is. You know, I listened to this song by Simba called Can't Win for Nothing. And one of the lines he says, you know, on the gram, they're taking trips out to Turks. And it's like, that's what he wants because he sees it on the gram. You see these things on Instagram and you're like, I want to attain these things. But it doesn't only affect our relationships, Carlton. It affects, in my mind, what we value, what we should be thinking is important is not what social media has us believe is important.
All right, fair. What say you, Craig?
First of all, shout out Mo for the extreme vulnerability there with like admitting what you could do better in your own relationship. That's like crazy
Clap,
big.
clap,
You know what I'm
clap.
saying?
True though, it's very true.
I do agree with the social media aspect, but I think it's whatever always been the media driving the culture. Because when it was magazines, once I saw there were certain things you saw in the magazines, maybe certain kicks, maybe certain fits. You know what I'm saying? Whatever media is driving the pop culture, especially at the time, has a lot of influence even over dating. It winds up being Stan Bradley.
And I agree with
saying?
you, Craig. But you know, with the magazines, you know, we were getting them shits once a month, dog. Social
Television
media,
also.
you're looking at that like, you know, some people are looking at social media 8 hours out of the day. Every free second they
You're
get,
right.
they got
It's
that
more
phone out and
powerful.
looking at it.
It's exponentially more powerful. I'm agreeing with you, but there's always been an influence there influencing dating.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, I agree with you 100%.
How you express your dominance and compete with other males in certain subcultures, and maybe you're still subject to choosing girls that value that, and maybe you don't care if that's the case. What you said about the work to maintain a relationship is the real, because we, not to be Captain Semantics, but husbandry is the cultivation and maintenance of It's the cultivation and maintenance of. It's most popularly associated with when you say husbandry, plants and animals. But think about what it means to be a husband. You have to cultivate in the same fashion and the same patience as if you were dealing as far as mindset goes. Nobody said every man deserves a wife. A husband deserves a wife. Have you proven the ability to manage resources and whatever? And it's hard to freaking do. Guess what? I'm not a husband. I ain't proved shit yet. Shout out to y'all though.
Well, I'm
Shout out to
tried and
me.
true. I'm tried and true, right? I've tried, which is true, and I'm on the other side of that journey. So from my vantage point, I appreciate both of y'all perspectives. I think, as social media has grown, we could probably do a chart that shows social media usage increasing, romance and, interactions and things of that nature declining. Whether, it's exactly correlated, statistically significant, we'll leave the brainiacs, should they choose to somehow assess that. But yes, social media. And what I sprinkle into what you all have said is balance, right? We, all of us, each of us grew up in the 90s. We grew up with AMG, that B better have my money. We grew up with, Luke and popping this and popping that, and we danced to it. But at the same party, in the same venue, there was a girl that at minimum for that night was our future. My point being, we were at the party where in one half we, Uncle Al, Luke, we popping and locking it or whatever was happening at that time, dropping it as hot as it could be. But there was a segment where Bobby Brown, Tenderoni came on, Isley Brothers came on, where you were also looking to meet somebody, to get on the dance floor and romance with somebody, to whatever may happen later. And, for us, we were teenagers, so it was only going to happen so many couple of ways. But needless to say, we existed in an environment with balance. And so when we talk about social media, to your point, Mo, there is no balance if you're on it. Balance with social media is limiting yourself to, 15 minutes a day, limiting yourself to, 5 minutes at a time, limiting yourself to the point where it's not the first thing you pick up in the morning, it's not the last thing you go to bed with at night, limiting yourself in perspective and realizing, yes, your favorite couple is posing and taking his pictures, in Barbados looking happy, but it's just a picture. And so there's a balance in perspective, because to get to the Barbados, you had to take a flight. To take the flight, you had to buy a ticket. Before you bought the ticket, you had to plan the trip. There's work that went into creating that photo. And if ever you've done a photo shoot, getting these picture perfect photos don't happen on the first time. So there's a whole reality behind those smiles that isn't captured in that picture. That imbalance of consciousness, you just got to know. But I have a young man who I mentor, who several years ago just told me, see, I would, where we value, brothers like you, Mo, Craig, is, you give us perspective that we don't have, because at this juncture for our generation, the social media is raising us. Social media is our reality. And if you didn't know it before you watched or listened to this show, social media is not life. And engaging with it in an imbalanced nature can be destructive to your life. Other thoughts?
I mean, I just think when you look at social media, though, man, you got to look at the whole thing. Like, Like, so you mentioned like Uncle Luke, like, you know, we I don't judge the generation, man, because I remember, you know, what it was like to be young, you know, and I had this talk with my brother-in-law the other day, the last time I saw him. I was like, you know what we'll never get to experience again, man, no matter what happens in our lives, we'll never get to experience what it was to love when we were that age again. Like to have your nose wide open and just be so passionate about that person because and you know, God willing, and I promise you, my plan is to never get divorced because I cherish my family, like I truly do. But even if I did, I'm not gonna get back into these streets and fall wildly in love like I did when I was a teenager and met that girl where
You
I was
get
playing.
robbed.
Where, you know, I call her and I have the R&B song playing, and then I chime in, "This is how I feel about you, girl." Like that's never gonna happen again
That's
because
what you did.
we become jaded. You know, we become jaded as we get older. We become. I recommend you do it. You know that worked. That worked. So
I made
but you become.
mixtapes.
But I'll
I
give you an
made
example,
tapes.
Carlton. The girls on Instagram versus the girls in like Luke's video, for example. The girls in Luke's video had their real body parts. Now girls openly brag about buying a body to get what they want out of a man. So now you have a relationship that's based on the premise of a fake body for a guy that's interested in paying her whatever in order to have access to that fake body. And like what truth is that relationship built on when it starts with that premise? You know, so and then you got like Craig's point, like back in the days, the girls would look at the magazines and be like, I gotta look like her, I gotta look like her. So now you have a generation in my mind that's chasing like plastic surgeries, in my opinion, because that or like you said earlier, the side chick. When we were coming up, you know what the side chick was? She was a secret. Like you were never supposed to find out about the side chick. Now we're just openly bragging about the side chick or
Nah.
embracing.
There's been songs over history that celebrate the side chick.
No, I'm not talking about celebrating her, but I'm talking about.
So that shows that's been
you
there.
have side chicks that are openly on social media, like, yeah, I'm the side
I'm
chick,
her.
and it's beneficial for
I'm
me.
her.
It's
Right.
I profit off of this, and you know, I just think like that stuff is, or men openly bragging about having side chicks. So if you're looking at that premise and you're really trying to make your relationship work, is it gonna really work when, you know, your pursuits are like to slide into your side chick's DM? I'm not sure. And I'm not judging anyone, trust me. It just feels like we're now more about like everything is an exchange. It's not about actually having
There's
a
validity there.
relationship that deals with love. It's about you have this body that you paid X amount of dollars for, and in exchange for you giving me access to this body, I'm gonna take you to Barbados. I'm gonna pay for your college. I'm gonna make sure that you live in this kind of house. And you know it's not based on love, but you're willing to do it because you do want to take that picture in Barbados. You want to take the picture coming off the private jet. And then people chase that, man. Like people chase that imagery and they want that lifestyle. But like Carlton was saying, it can be so fake in a lot of ways. You know, rich people hurt too. They're no different than a common person like myself or anybody out there that's listening. They go through depression, they have mental problems, they deal with anxiety, they question themselves, lack of self-confidence, all of these things that like that's not just exclusive to people that are not living that lifestyle. Like people hurt whether you're a billionaire or you're selling your food stamps for half off.
Right. Well, you know, so again, valid points. Another question in the same realm. So when we talk about the fakeness, whether it be body parts, whether it be behavior patterns, you know, I'm with you just to take this trip, to take these photos, the love is missing. Where is there a path what is the path for a young man 2021 in this world, in this realm, to get to the relationship that is meaningful, to the relationship that is love? How does he navigate these troubled waters to get to what you have, Mo, what I'm in the process of creating, what Craig is, you know, in his own way and come to terms with, but
It hurts me that you
recognize
can't find words
still
right now, Carlton.
still exists. Like Craig knows it exists, right? And that's why he hasn't settled.
I'm
So
not that. Never mind.
All right. So
for the young man, how does the young man of today get to what we're talking
Who's
about?
going first?
I'll go first, man. And Craig is a young man as well. But like, if you're talking about 20, whether you're 2021 or 30, 35 or 35, 40, whatever, you know, and if you want to find a meaningful relationship with a good woman, in my opinion, just get ready to be annoyed, man. Like, get ready to be annoyed, because a good woman's going to challenge you on your bullshit. And she's you know what I tell young kids, Carlton, and I'd recommend this to any gentleman. You know who the people are that annoy you the most? It's like your parents, your teachers. You know why? Because they're the ones that actually care about you. So they can't stand to see you mess up, so they annoy you. And you feel like, why won't they just shut up? Why won't they just leave me alone? They care too much. It's easy to not say anything. You know, it's a lot less stressful that way. So, you know, when you find someone that challenges you to be a better human being, a better man, or find a man that challenges you to be a better woman, and your morals align, you know, I think you have a great chance for success in that relationship. But and it's hard, man. Like, I'm married, man. I like Carlton said, and my wife is a great woman. Shit, she annoys the shit out of me sometimes, but
I'm sure she would say the same.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You know what I completely agree with you. You know, you can't be a hypocrite in this situation either. You got to realize that you have flaws, and I know I'm a flawed person, and I know the things that I do that get on her nerves. And there's a lot of times, you know, where I feel, you know, because Carlton is like my confidant, and he knows this. I'll call Carlton and be like, man, she's annoying the shit out of me. And Carlton would be like, well, dog, you know, she has a point here. You know, she has a legitimate point here. But just like with your parents, you got to realize that the people that care about you are never going to shut up with the things that they see you doing wrong, because they love you that much. Like, they can't stand to see you go down the wrong path. So, you know, you got to embrace those people in your life, man. Like, Carlton annoys the crap out of me sometimes too. You know, Craig annoys the shit out of me sometimes too. It's because these boys care about me. They want to see me doing the right things. And the people that love you are going to annoy you. And you can't, like, see, the big difference between like me and like Carlton or Craig's relationship versus a relationship you have with a female or my wife is like, you know, when Carlton's annoying me, I could just look at Carlton and be like, you know what, shut the F up. And 10 minutes later, we'll be like, hey, what are we getting for lunch? It don't work like that. You can't talk like that to your wife. So you gotta just learn how to communicate, how to listen, and how to, you know, kind of at the end of the day, appreciate that someone cares enough about you to say something to you.
What is your advice for the young man, Craig? Or young woman, young man or young woman?
Yeah, it's such a sexist.
I think some of the old formula is still holds true and probably holds more true than ever. Like, even communication and patience, the combination thereof, right? Like, to establish, you know, both non-expectations and expectations, boundaries and whatever, but it's going to take some communication. And here's why. You got to add the patience in with it, because there's going to be a lot of people, nothing's changed in the game in as far as people come in the door selling you a gift of goods. You know what I'm saying? But that's not always their real personality. Hang in there. Behavior patterns, You know what I'm saying? They could fake it, but for so long. So communicate and be patient. Stand on what you want, and if you don't stand on it, you gotta deal with them consequences.
So what I'd add,
The game ain't changed in that respect, huh?
what I add, prepare for the agitation, communication, patience. The thought that came to me was detach from the image. It's the love is there. It ebbs and the romance. Love is agitation. Love is communication. Love is patience. Romance ebbs and flows, and you can create it at any time. So whether me and Mo, Craig didn't say what his techniques were back in the day, but Mo had the slow songs, the R&B in the background. I made the R&B mixtape.
I'm willing to confess.
That's heavy and young and dumb romance, but it was real at the time. You can create that with the new girlfriend, the new boyfriend. You can have that in a 20-year marriage if you allow for the humility in being agitated. If you allow for the patience, if you prioritize the communication, you can create romance at any time. Just you can't attach to it. You're not always going to be in Turks and Caicos. You're not always going to be photogenic. People get sick, people gain weight, people get agitated, they have bad days on the job. So there's so much that love calls for, that love, that romance in newer love doesn't last. Love create the romance, and then you can have the relationship of your dreams. Not all times every day, but you can have it. Young man, young lady. Well, Nat, we'll take a 30-second break and be right back. This is Unsolicited Genius. Welcome back to Unsolicited Genius. We transition from one emotional topic to another emotional topic segment. What in the sports? All right, Uncle Mo, your 49ers are still in it, but your boy Brock Purdy not looking so hot, or at least he didn't look so hot. So where are you on your team as you all get ready to face Detroit this weekend?
I feel better about Brock Purdy than I did about him going into Detroit. Listen, man, in these playoff games or in your NFL career, like as a quarterback, you're not going to always have your A game. The part that I was impressed with Brock Purdy is he played like crap for 3.5 quarters. But in that last drive, when we needed it, it was money. So to be able to overcome that and lead us back to he was 6 for 7 on that last drive, and the one that he missed was actually a drop by Kittle. That made me feel better actually about Brock Purdy. We've talked about this for years, man. You got to be able to win football games when it's not going your way. That's the key in the playoffs, because it's not always going to go your way. So you need to find a way to grind out those games when it's not going your way. Green Bay smoked Dallas. We found a way to beat Green Bay and move on to this round. And that's all I care about, man. I don't care if we win these games ugly as hell and Brock Purdy looks like trash. When we need him, as long as he shows up, I'm good with that, man. I'm real good with that.
Other reactions on the weekend. We had the Bills versus Chiefs. We talked about the 49ers against Green Bay. Any surprises?
I don't even want to talk about Buffalo no more, man. Buffalo is like, what's that character's name in life, man? Can't get right. Buffalo can't get right. That's what Buffalo is. When the chips are down and and it's not even a critique of Josh Allen. All of their players, Stephon Diggs dropped the deep ball through his arms. They just don't make the plays that are needed to win the game. Josh Allen missed a throw when the guy was open in the end zone. The field goal kicker, who was 9 for 9 in these situations before that kick, completely choked. Buffalo just can't be trusted. Baltimore looked impressive. Lamar Jackson played an amazing game. This is Ali Frazier in the AFC. Lamar, Mahomes. And I can't wait to see it. I think Mahomes is the better player. I think Lamar has the better team, though. So I'm going to go with the Ravens in that situation. And I know you wanted to bring this up, but I'll roll into it. You know, the critique of Purdy not being Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, like Ryan Clark pointed out, who is? How many people are Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes?
I think he threw Josh Allen in there too.
I mean, Josh Allen is more talented and a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. But see, the thing I don't get about Purdy is people are acting like with Shanahan, right? They're saying every quarterback he puts in there is successful, but not the way Purdy is. Like Garoppolo wasn't as successful as Purdy is. San Francisco is a much better team offensively this year with Purdy as our starting quarterback. And the majority of the time, he plays well, man. I think he does get rattled, though, in games where it starts off and he either throws a pick or, you know, in the Green Bay game, he should have thrown a pick 6. But he dropped that pick to start the game and didn't get it. And I think that made him a little gun-shy. And there's also something with the rain. But, you know, he shows an ability the majority of the time to make the plays. And with the roster around him, that's all that really matters, man. It's quarterback is the most important position, but it's still a team game.
Fair.
So
Fair.
Can we win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy? Absolutely. And that's all I care about, Carlton. That's all.
All right, I'll take that. Craig, we're going to talk basketball next, but you got any NFL playoff reactions?
Definitely. I actually watched the NFL. I'm actually going for the Lions. Sorry, Mo.
You and the rest of America, man. I like this role, Craig.
I don't know if it's a role, but okay. Like I feel like Aiden Hutchinson's gonna get home like 2 times. I know the defense is not their strong point, but I also got to stand on what I've said on this podcast before. I've been bigging up Dan Campbell since the hire, so I'm standing on it. So I'm looking for a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl personally. And
you're about to be sad.
Him and a whole I have a in my personal network, I have several people from Detroit that I care deeply for. And when I tell you a fan base that is hype,
I'm cheering for him.
Should they not win, to Detroit's chagrin, to your joy, Mo, there's gonna be a lot of sad people. Although they've achieved a lot. Not only have they won a playoff game, they won 2 playoff games. And I'm more what happens on the field, so I don't know their cap situation on their ability to build and get better from here. But Craig's point, Dan Campbell is that man. Dan is that man. He's a heck of a coach, heck of a leader. To know he was as a player, tight end, tough guy. To hear Jared Goff talk about what Dan Campbell has meant to his mental ability to play the game, I think is huge, to speak to who Dan Campbell is as a man, person, and a coach. So a lot of people like you cheering for the Detroit, Craig.
I mean,
in addition to that, I'm super excited about the Raiders hire Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce.
I'm super excited about that.
I mean, if the Lions lose the game, the positive side is, one, I agree they had a good year, and the other positive is, they get to look forward to the winter in Detroit. It's beautiful there during this time, so it's all good.
The winter in Detroit is why they play in the dome, but I feel you. So, Chiefs Ravens, I think is going to be huge. I think that's an amazing matchup. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen was an amazing matchup.
Dog, if
Ravens.
Mahomes wins this game, I'll be so pissed. I'm so tired of Mahomes and the Chiefs.
A lot of people are, but I'm not to the point of agitation with them yet, the way I was with the Patriots,
I'm at
because
that point, Carlton. That's where
I
I'm at with the
see
Chiefs.
from what I see them earn it, right? It's not easy. It's not a given. Like the Bills should have won, right? The Bills were at home. They had all the opportunity. They should have won, but they kept fighting. Kelsey showed up. He had his boo thing in the stands. You know,
Oh my
they kept
God, that's
fighting.
the other reason why I want them gone.
Every time I
Dog.
hear the word should, that's a flag, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you because there's no should. There's either you won or you lost. But the other thing, Carlton, is this is not her fault. So please, if you're listening, if you're a Swiftie, this is not a shot at Taylor
Don't
Swift.
get us canceled.
I just don't want to watch the Super Bowl and have the camera zoom in on her 50, 60 times during the Super Bowl, man. That's all I'm saying. And it's nothing against her. She seems like a very lovely young lady. I'm not into the music the way,
It's
some
not gonna
others
happen
are.
anyway.
She's wildly successful. I respect the businesswoman that she is and all of that. But I just don't want to see her 60 times during the Super Bowl.
Ravens 2 touchdowns.
So if I hear
My
you,
2
Craig, you
touchdowns? I don't know
got
about that.
Ravens Lions. So Craig is
Yeah.
on record. He's rolling Ravens Lions in the Super Bowl.
Ravens Niners.
Ravens Niners.
I think if the Niners get to Jared Goff too, Carlton, I don't even think it's going to be a close game.
Is it my turn?
Go ahead.
Hell, you.
Chiefs, Niners. That's what Carlton's about to say.
Ravens. Lions. I think they're gonna do it, Muhammad. I'm sorry.
Y'all gonna see.
I'm sorry.
I
Shout
feel
out
more
Broward
confident.
County.
I feel more confident about us playing the Lions than I did
Lamar,
about us playing
what
the
up?
Packers.
Okay. You know your team. If of the three of us, you know your team. I believe in energy. I coach emotional energy. That's my, subject matter expertise. Execution matters. I think Purdy is human.
Aiden Hutchinson. 2 times.
I mean, Jared Goff is human. He's not.
Jared Goff is human. Jared Goff is human. So you got 2 humans at quarterback. And so it's going to be, let's see what the rest of the teams do. Let's see what the rest of the teams do. And
You saw this breakdown, Craig. He just established that the quarterbacks are human. What?
they're not, Lamar and Pat are superhuman, right? So Purdy and Goff,
Oh,
they
say
human.
they bleed though.
They're human. What Mahomes is on, I can't speak. If they show that which is revealed that he got tubes and stuff going through him, I believe that. But Purdy.
The Chiefs got the 2 funniest running styles in the league, man. The way Patrick Mahomes runs is funny to me. The way Isaiah Pacheco runs. Isaiah Pacheco's running like he just missed the bus and his mom is about to whoop his ass.
I'm wondering how long that lasts, right? Like I thought he had a little more wiggle than that seasons before, but he'll throw a little hard. It's intense. It's intense.
Downhill run.
So we'll see. I think the way Lamar looked against the Texans, if that all things being equal, I think the Ravens get the Super Bowl, but week by week we'll come back. We'll see.
Lamar's impressive, man, but the thing that's really the most impressive to me about the Ravens, that defense, man. Defense.
No, the defense for real. The defense is real.
Like you got to think in that Texans game, the Texans really only scored 3 points. The other 7 that they got was on a punt return. That defense only gave up 3 points.
They're real.
I do enjoy watching the linebackers in Baltimore a lot.
And that's the Texans that ran it up on the Browns. Great defense. So comparatively speaking, the Ravens are real.
To Craig's point, if you like good linebacker duos, this is the weekend for you because Baltimore has a heck of a duo with Queen and
Roquan.
and then San Francisco's got a heck of a duo with Warner and Greenlaw. So if you
So
like
you feel me.
linebacker
All right.
plays,
I thought I was
good
alone.
weekend for you.
All
Greenlaw
right.
saved us in the Packer game. He got 2 interceptions.
All right.
Like
Well,
that's what I'm
yeah.
tuning in for. I'm watching them linebackers in these games.
Just real quick, to any of my San Francisco fans out there and to y'all boys too, I post this. Why the hell wouldn't Greenlaw go down? Why did he keep running around? The whole time I kept thinking
you're
about
too hype. It's too hype.
He about to fumble this ball.
There's times in the moment, I believe, as athletes where it's too much adrenaline, too much hype. The brain can't take all that. And so one of his teammates, it almost looked like they were going to tackle him, but they tackled him. He messed around and fumbled, right? But it was too much for him because as a defender, you get an interception, you want a touchdown, you want to do something, you want to show I should have played. Y'all say should have, but I should have been playing offense. I should have been running. I'm good enough to do this. So you get caught up in the hype, but that's all I got for you. I can't. Otherwise, I ain't got nothing. He should have went down.
TV, Carlton, get down, get down, get your ass down.
Where was he running to? Like, where was he?
You know what I saw the craziest stat on both of his interceptions? Craig, listen to this. This man ran 125 yards on both interceptions and only gained 15. How do you do it?
Yeah. He belongs on defense.
Yeah.
He belongs. He's that running back that just wouldn't hit the hole. He belongs on defense.
Oh,
Caught the
special
ball.
shout out to all our Cowboys fans. It's not gonna happen next year either. Just wrap your mind around that.
Yo, Cowboys tears in a chilled glass. What? The only better tears recently were the Seminole tears after the Georgia thing. Like
no sympathy
in a
for
chilled
him.
glass.
Yeah, no sympathy for him.
Zero. Only person I know that had sympathy for him is a man named Juice.
I don't know. What did you say? Syntax error. What was that word you used, Carlton?
Sympathy for
sympathy.
Yeah, you're right.
No sympathy.
Like we're Gators.
Nothing
sympathy made me happier than to see Florida State not get into that playoff after they went.
I told you it was a chilled glass, right?
Nothing.
I do feel it was unfair, but if it had to happen to somebody,
what's it, man?
I
hate it.
All right, basketball hoops. Let's talk hoops. We legit. Well, we passed the halfway point, I guess, officially in terms of schedule. The unofficial quasi people start watching after the Super Bowl All-Star game. But needless to say, we've had an NBA season going on in the backdrop of an NFL season. I've been watching my Heat. Don't like what I see. They got demolished by Boston. Shout out to UD. They retired his jersey. It's on the Miami Heat Raptors, I think, for what the Raptors represent, the retirement of jerseys. He represents the city. He represents the heart of the team. He's a Gator. He's born, raised 305. He lived, played 305. He retired 305. And, however he chooses to live his life from this point forward, wherever he chooses to live his life from this point forward, he would always be 305. But your boy Paul Pierce came at him. So I was extra energetic behind this Heat Celtics game. But if I count correctly, the Heat are on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. Now,
lost by 33.
In Spo, I do trust. So I think I understand what the madness behind his method. Got to make the playoffs, got to stay out of the play-in tournament, all them shenanigans. But, he configuring some things. He, configuring, rejiggering, whatever, right? We traded a point guard. We traded Lowry. We got in Rozier. So he doing what he do. So this time last year, I've been tripping, but I think I get it now, so I ain't hating. But I've mainly just been watching the Heat. Ja's out for the season. I don't know what anybody else is doing. So I open the floor to, we'll start with you, Craig. Any thoughts, reactions to what you've seen in the NBA season thus far?
Dog, I hate disappointing you because you came to me first because you know me because I love hoops. But in my adulthood, and even before then, I don't watch hoops till after the Super Bowl. And maybe
Okay.
even after March
You one of
Madness.
them. So nothing,
Yeah,
you
like the
didn't
only
pick up
hoops,
on
like
nothing
I
yet?
worked with a young man on his jab step pull up jumper a couple days ago, and I played my homeboy in a best of 7. But I don't watch it. I watch football way more religiously, way more passionately, and follow up on the stats more closely. If we ain't playing, it's not this serious to me till after March Madness, really. And March
So,
Madness died down, so maybe Valentine's Day now.
so nothing to ascertain. Let me see. The Lakers in 10th place right now.
Lakers
The
are
Heat
trash.
the Heat in 7th place right now. Where the Magic? The Magic are in
We're right
8th
behind the
place.
Heat. We're in eighth.
Half a game behind the Heat. So, all right, Mo. So, what you got? A lot of football.
Also,
So,
I also agree with Craig,
Yeah.
dog. I don't start following it. I actually start following basketball after the conference championships because we'll have that week off before the Super Bowl. So I'll start getting into it more. But I have been following the Magic because I'm excited about it. It's been a long time since we've been this good, which is 23-21. But I'll take it. I get great pleasure in watching the Lakers struggle. So I've kind of been following them. That's Craig's team. I'm aware of what's going on, Carlton, but I haven't watched a lot of basketball. But right now, if you ask me if you ask me to put my money on a team that I believe would win this NBA championship this year, if they stay healthy, all my chips are in on the Los Angeles Clippers.
ooh, really?
All your chips.
Okay.
If they stay healthy, I believe the Clippers could beat any team. My second team would be the Celtics. And
They
then,
gonna choke.
I also feel like you have to see Milwaukee because
Doc is
Lillard
back.
It's not Doc, man. It's Lillard. Lillard is such a problem if they're in close in fourth quarter games. Like he's just a problem.
That's fair. He's going to be a difference maker. He's going to be a bigger difference maker than anybody they've had alongside Giannis for sure. I haven't.
The number one team in the West is the Timberwolves. I don't think they're about to win this championship. The number 2 team is the Thunder. I don't think they're about to win this championship. I think it's easy to overlook the Nuggets because they're the Nuggets, but they are the champs.
Yeah, my observation, Jokic is still that dude. Your boy at Philly, Embiid, he's balling as of late, but again, got to stay healthy, got to do it in the playoffs. I think the Celtics going to choke, whether I believe it or not, is what I want. I find the Timberwolves, Oklahoma City, highlights mostly, a few games, portions of games here and there. So I think what they're doing is impressive, especially just knowing, kind of the drama that Minnesota has had, players' attitudes, changes, this, that, and the other. So, they're playing good ball. But,
Ant-Man is nice.
What'd you say?
Oh,
Ant-Man
Ant-Man is playing on
nice.
another level. Anthony Edwards is playing on another level this year.
Right.
That man is nice.
I haven't seen the Clippers be on highlights and conversation yet. So, but my biggest takeaway is there's more parity. From top to bottom, the gap isn't as big as it might be in the past. The West Coast is even smaller from top to bottom than it is on East Coast. But, I think we're going to get some good basketball when we all start tuning in on the other side of the NFL season. Are you entertained? So, we don't have no top lists today. Last time we talked production and, shout out to the listeners. They gave us a few more. Scarface, some more Goody Mob, Black Ice, a lot of great production in our hip hop history. So, but all that being said, what have you gentlemen been listening to?
Cleo Soul Mother. That's the name of the project.
Soul Mother. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Mother's the name of the album.
Yeah, Mother's the name of the project.
Okay. All right. What you vibing with? What does it do for you?
It's on that mellow. It's mellow and pensive, right?
Mellow and pensive.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
I don't need help being aggressive or being hype right now. It does that. And in the same token, if at this point I'm listening to music with words, because I don't really, outside of that, I'm listening to instrumentals. I've actually, yeah, junk without words, even the 3000 albums, whatever, right? But if it's going to have words, let it hit home and be meaningful without being on some sad sack BS. Like just for the sake of being sad sack.
Okay.
Paint a
All
picture,
right.
tell a story.
I respect it. Music lovers respect it. What about you, Uncle Mo? What you been listening to?
Recently, man, I jumped back into my 90s R&B mood. Jodeci's been on heavy rotation recently.
The whole collection.
Yeah, just the whole collection. Jodeci's been on heavy rotation. Drew Hill, just those groups, man.
What's your favorite Jodeci song? Out of curiosity.
My favorite Jodeci song?
Yes.
Lately, because I just love how he comes in. I'm a man of many wishes.
Okay.
My favorite
well.
Drew Hill song is a song. I don't know if I'm sure y'all boys have heard it, but Drew Hill has a song called Beauty.
Oh yeah.
That I
Oh
really
yeah.
like.
Oh
That I
yeah.
love
Talk
that
about
song.
romance.
I love
That Drew, that was CDs, so that's on the CD, the mix CD for sure. That had a special spot on the mix.
I think Drew Hill
I
is
know for
very
sure
underrated,
relationships
man.
started off of that song.
I think Drew Hill is very underrated. Other songs that Drew Hill likes, I especially like when Big Boy says, "Tear you up like Reese's Pieces." Come on, girl, you know, because he
I don't
meant
like
that.
that part. I don't like that part. I don't
What
like
you
that
talking
part.
about? He a
It
big
throws it
boy.
off.
He
It
loved
throws it off.
Reese's Pieces.
I'm not a big sweets. I love Maurice's Pieces. Don't get me wrong, but I ain't like that part. It throws it off.
Ooh.
When I sing it, I skip that part. I just the Sleeping in My Bed remix is fire. Speaking of remixes, my favorite Jodeci song is the Come and Talk to Me remix, right? So to have the album and hear the original, this is a great song. Come and talk to me. I really, blah, 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 blah. But when that remix hit,
You know
Yeah,
what's
them
another
drums
song
hit.
they
Them drums
remade
slap.
that was excellent too, Carlton? Their version of "If You Think You're Lonely Now."
Yes.
yeah, that was good. They did
killed
great.
that version.
Their remakes are awesome because they did that one lately with Stevie Wonder, I believe. Drew Hill, they did a remake on their first album, Love Train. Oh, to the original is good to the old school R&B's, possibly a classic, but that is one for me where the remake I like more than the original. Like they did that.
And the
They
other
did
group
that.
I've been listening to from the 90s, because I absolutely love it, is Boyz II Men, man. They're like, their music is timeless.
I
Man,
appreciate you bringing that up. So who had the better, what's the song they did in common again? It's just on my tongue.
Who? Jodeci,
Boyz II
Boyz II
Men
Men.
and New Edition.
What,
What,
Can You
Can You
Stand the
Stand the
Rain?
Rain?
New Edition.
I mean, I'll always go with the original.
Yeah, New Edition. Boyz II Men did all right. They did good, but you can't
But if
replicate
you
Johnny
ask me
Gill
which group
or Ralph
I
Tresvant.
think is the better group, nah, it's Boyz II Men to me.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, touche.
It's the better group. But because see, you brought up Ralph and Johnny Gill, and Johnny Gill has a voice out this world. But what Wanye brings to a song is crazy, dog. Like, dog, every time Wanye sings, like, doing just fine. When his part comes on, I feel like my heart is broken because he takes me there. Like, I'm like, man, who hurt this man like this?
No,
So,
Wanye's verse on Yesterday
The
I
emotion he brings and
just
how
talking about it, I'm getting teary-eyed right now. Like let's keep going.
like
Better
when
singers,
you know,
Boys to Men, but R&B group, song, rhythm, dance too. New Edition has their place in the Hall of Fame.
I
But
mean,
Can
there
You
is
Stand the
no
Rain
these
is my
groups aren't there without New
yeah.
Edition. So
Can
you're
You Stand the
definitely
Rain
right.
by New Edition might be my favorite R&B song. Period.
Hey
Like
man, I don't
that's
know if you boys checked out the T-Pain covering songs without the auto tune.
he can
That boy
sing.
can sing.
He can sing.
Doc, you ever heard of a song called Tennessee Whiskey? It's a country
I
song.
heard him do it.
Oh my God, Carlton. Oh my God. He killed that Tennessee Whiskey. I was like, why the hell were you using this auto tune this whole time?
Does he answer that question? Does he? I've seen
I mean,
it.
it was the money and it was popular. He started a trend with it. But, for all the people, and including myself, I apologize, T-Pain, because I thought he had no talent.
Yo,
This man is a
my bad,
talented,
T-Pain.
talented singer. Because
Kanye
I was
said he
definitely
was.
one of those people.
Kanye
Craig.
said he
My
was a
bad,
king.
Teddy. Even though I
That's
was
not even.
one of my favorite songs by him early on was like Stomach. Like he had like a lot of little bangers that I enjoyed, but
No, the bartender. That
well,
was
a
I had
handful.
because I
He
was in
sang that
Tallahassee.
without the auto tune.
I was in Tallahassee one time, and maybe it was family, it was homecoming, and there was a bartender. So it
Craig, that was one of our songs where it was talking about spending that money to get her.
is it that what he spent money? Yeah, well, yeah, bartender. Yeah, you're right.
If you sit
Buy
there, you
you a
gonna spend.
drink. Ooh.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Now he got some jams, but yeah,
All of these groups at the end of the day, man, make me wish I could sing. Because if I could sing, I wouldn't even talk. I just
Hey,
sing everything.
if
I wouldn't even be
nobody's
talking on the
around,
stage.
There is a reason God didn't what?
if
Craig, I would
nobody is
literally
around,
sing
you
every
can't
song.
tell me nothing.
Just like if I could dance, I wouldn't walk. I would dance into every building that you would see me in.
Bruh.
Craig and I can dance, and we don't dance into every building.
No,
but
if
I
I could
understand.
dance, I
I
would
hear
dance
you.
into every building.
I hear you.
Y'all be like, why is he
Give me some
moonwalking
vocals.
everywhere?
Oh,
There's a reason I got a talking voice and not a singing voice.
arrogance.
Yeah, there's plenty of. There wouldn't have had to been no mixtape. I would have been
Hey,
singing all of them, singing the romance.
Let me find out how to hold a note at my big old age right now.
They say you can learn. They say you can learn.
Great
Every
appreciation.
video.
But
If
see,
you get the right
that's a
teacher and
God-given
trainer.
thing, Carlton. You could learn,
R&B.
but you could never be great because it's a God. Like Doc, you could never learn how to sing like Anthony Hamilton. That shit is not about to happen.
Luther, Anthony, KC, JoJo.
I feel like you shooting at my dreams, Mo.
KC, JoJo, you're not.
Craig,
well,
I love you to death, but you're never gonna get out there and sound like no Anthony Hamilton.
If you think we started with Jodeci, right? KC and JoJo do not have traditional singing voices.
No, of course
But
not, brother.
they
KC has a very
find a
strong
way to express what they do the way they do. So they still do it. So what I am offering is if my two podcast co-hosts find their voice, whether it take a week, a year, portion of a lifetime, you find that voice. We just got to find your style. That's all.
Man,
Just
Negro,
find
you'd
your
see
style.
me. You would see.
At this point, I'm willing to put myself out there. Let's go.
Dog,
Auto
you would
tunes or
have.
not.
There's a more likely chance of me being on Unsolicited After Dark with Craig than us picking up our singing voices. And I'm not gonna be on Unsolicited After Dark. Dog, that's such a God-given gift.
Yeah,
Like, you know who else I like? You know who else I like? Who has, to me, an amazing voice, and I listen to him on occasion too, is Sam Smith. I don't know if y'all boys get down on
He's
Sam.
talented. He's talented.
But you know
Yes,
what's
he
crazy? You remember when he did the song with John Legend?
Mm-hmm.
His song, but it was remixed.
Yeah.
And John Legend when I was on. Doc, you listen to Sam Smith and you're like, man, what a voice this guy has. And then John Legend gets on that song and you're like, God damn, why John Legend had to do him like this.
Yo,
John Legend's voice is like, what?
He's another. I like Brian
like
McKnight.
when Andre 3000 is your feature.
Dog,
Yeah,
John
don't do it.
Legend's first
Don't
album is
do it.
still my favorite album, and it's an absolute classic.
Yeah, from start to finish,
It's just
production,
an absolute
tunes,
classic.
Snoop, Kanye.
Kanye production, just
Yeah, it was.
spectacular.
It's a banger. But I would say I like Brian McKnight too. You know, everybody that we name, he has a way of
He's on my
just
favorite Christmas song, man.
getting into making you feel the song, whether it's
Heartfelt poetry too.
yeah, that
Let It Snow with Boyz II Men and Brian McKnight is my
yeah,
favorite.
that combo, right? Just all of them together, and where he just fit in. He was still Brian McKnight. Wanye was still Wanye, but that was a great collaboration for sure. So what I've been listening to is a little different than what we usually talk about, but relevant in the grand scheme of things we call music. Background being, you know, the entrepreneurial journey is not for the faint of heart. So they, you know, I have those days, those moments, those temporary seasons where I need the uplift. So I have a gospel playlist that I've accumulated now probably over the course of 10 years. And the most recent addition has come from one of our fraternity chapter, world famous Zeta Kappa frat brothers, the Reverend Dr. Emery Berry Jr., who is the pastor for the Favorite Church of Atlanta. And the Favorite Church Atlanta praise team has a song out called You Did It Again. And so we have a chance to hear the great Dr. Emery Berry Jr. intro. You know, he do his little Kirk Franklin a little bit, but the rest of the team, they do their thing on that song. And so I believe it's the only one they have out right now. But to our listeners, if you need a movement in your spirit, please check out our boy and his family, his church family. The song is called You Did It Again, and it's the Favorite Church Atlanta praise team. So shout out to Emery. He's out there doing great things, trying to heal souls and help others, lead others to the light. So that's what we're listening to. What have you all been watching?
Nothing but football and news.
Nothing but football and news. That's it.
Man, I love the BRICS news from the African continent. Al Jazeera. I like when I could get the what if I could get I'm watching news from all over the planet, all the geopolitical craziness going on. I kind of enjoy it. It's outside of sports. That's what I'm on. If you know, yes, the stuff going on in Gaza, Palestine. Yes, I'm enjoying it. It's like General Hospital to me.
I've been watching football. What's the last movie I saw? The last movie I saw was that Trash by Kevin Hart, Lift. And dog, the other thing I watch outside of sports, you know, I'm always on my cooking shows. Like I'm always on my cooking shows because cooking is just like a passion and a soothing thing for me at this point in my life. But the other thing, man, I'm addicted to the show Criminal Minds, man. Like I can't get enough of these serial killers. Like I can't get enough of it, man. I have been watched this show since for 6 months. I'm already on season 14. It's progressively getting worse, but now, you know, because I made it to season 14 and there's only 16 seasons, it's like, you got to finish the shit. So that's what I've been watching. But man, that show at the beginning, there was an episode at the beginning where the agent and the serial killer went after his family and he was about to kill his son's mom and she had to say bye to her son. And, you know, I got a kid. I won't lie to y'all boys. The tears were flowing. The tears were definitely flowing in that episode. They touched the heartstring. So, yeah, man, that's exactly what I've been watching.
Well,
Criminal Minds, cooking shows, and football.
So to the audience, if it hadn't been made clear, we are episode 51. So you have 50 other opportunities to get to know each of us. I am sensitive of heart and weak of stomach. So Criminal Minds can't do. It took everything out of me to get through the 4 seasons of The Walking Dead. I hate zombies, and just, TV as it exists today is a lot for my system. So I watch animated. I watch Bob Burger over and over again, but I have been able to get to, after years of effort and trying and configuring and trying to figure out how I got it to get to it. I have gotten to the early original starting episodes of the Dragon Ball series. So Dragon Ball going back to 1986. I didn't realize it was that old. I thought it started in the 90s. So I have gone back. I've completed the first season. I'm clear on how Goku came about. I've learned some things, and I'm excited to I'm in Disney World, like a kid in Disney World, being able to see how Vegeta and Goku and Bulma, where their origin story is. So in my leisure time, in the gaps, usually lunch, I'll watch an episode here, and I'm ecstatic to be able to start from where they are to get to where they finish. I think the most recent episodes are still in Japanese, haven't quite made it their way to English yet, or at least I haven't found them. So, if somebody know I can get to them, let me know. But I am in entertainment heaven, being able to watch these early episodes of Dragon Ball.
Oh, have y'all boys seen, just as a recommendation for y'all in the audience, in case have y'all seen Hijack with Idris Elba on Apple TV?
It's good.
It's
I didn't know how it
excellent,
would
man.
be.
It's a
I didn't know how it would be.
episode series. I've seen all of them. Excellent. You seen them all?
I've seen them all. It's great. It's great.
Dog.
No spoilers. If you
I'm
haven't
not
seen
gonna
it,
spoil it, but dog, you know what
no
I'm talking
spoilers.
about. When that lady, that was crazy. That was a twist that I did not see coming.
You think it's over? Are they done with it?
That's it. It's just a
nothing.
7-episode
Oh
miniseries.
man,
Craig, if
it
you
was
haven't seen it, man, I highly recommend
quality.
it. It was excellent.
Quality. I didn't know how do you do 7 episodes on
Because
a hijack
it's basically
plane?
a movie that they broke up into 7 episodes.
Yeah,
That's
it's
essentially
quality.
what it is.
Keep it a
It's
being with you.
quality.
Usually I catch up on viewing after football season. I even reopen accounts, but they're useless during football season. Like
Touche.
what I need a Netflix for?
Touche. Well, they don't
I
even let you
reopen
share
them
no
things
more.
in like June. They last a couple months. The free trial or what? I'm out.
Yeah.
Or use another.
I left Netflix. They offered me to come back, but I quit. I quit that relationship. All right. So, gentlemen, what have you been reading?
I have been reading Football Scouting Methods by Bill Belichick's dad, Steve Belichick. It's a book that was written in 1962. And, for those of you that don't know, our frat brother is now not only, shout out to him, man. I'm so proud of our guy. Rand Carlton is not only the general manager, but he's also the executive vice president now of the Tennessee Titans. And he got his start as a scout. And just as like a passion project, I'm interested in learning what it takes to be a scout. I would love the opportunity to be a scout, but the issue with it is I just got something I love more than the idea of being a scout. It's my son. Scouting would take too much time away from my son. So, even though it's something I probably will never get a chance to pursue, it's just something I'm passionate about. So I want to learn what a scout looks at when they're breaking down that film 22.
He'll be out the house one day. You might be the oldest scout to ever exist on the planet, but he'll be out the house one day. The dream ain't dead. Ain't dead.
I've done extensive research on it, Carlton. These boys spend so much time on the road.
Dream, he gonna leave the house. I mean, you send him to me. I'll look out for him. We'll figure it out. What have you ascertained anything from the book? What have you learned?
Well, I'm trying to learn the X's and O's and the terminology of scouting. That's what I'm focusing on.
Okay.
So I've been highlighting the terms.
Like, well,
and
what's
like
the
the
term? What's a
worksheets.
new term? Teach us something.
So let me go through my highlights, my friend. So one of the things I've been looking at, Carlton, is an offensive scouting sheet. And I don't have it down by any stretch of the imagination, but that's one thing I've learned about is the offensive scouting sheet, T formation, 27F play. So it just is basically right now, and I haven't gotten far into it yet. It's teaching me how, if I'm watching a game, to put like what the down and distance is, what formation are they in, what was the gain, and he's essentially charting like every freaking play, like every freaking play. So, me and Carlton have always like taken an interest in the NFL draft. So I bought like 6 books on this stuff. So, and I just want to mess around with it. And even if it's not something I ever get to do, I want to watch some college games and, make my little notes on some player that I think will be successful and see if he pans out.
That's fun. It's fun. If you love it, if it's fun, that's it. That's follow the fun. Follow the fun.
Little passion project. So
what about you, Craig? What you been reading?
In the last 24 hours in particular, like I'm supposed to be on day 11 of a little 100-day fast. And I want to make sure I'm doing right by my diet the next time I step out. So I was in a Leviticus 11 in terms of clean and unclean food. But that is a part of the Vesica Pisces I mentioned earlier. I'm trying to overlap personal experience, research, and all that to put myself in the ideal place. I ain't got nothing else to do anyway. Why not?
All right. I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. So I am on the tail end. I'm almost done of reading A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. All right. Hanya Yanagihara. And it is the most heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, emotional story about the human experience that I would ever imagine being put in text, let alone put in a novel that people like. So I came across this book. A good friend, group did a book exchange. I recommended The Alchemist, the stories of the immortal Nicholas Flamel. I received A Little Life, and this was approximately 3, if not 4 years ago, and I'm finishing it because I had to put it down. If I don't know why to recommend it, right? It's a great story. If you get down with sorrow and pain, this is the book for you because it takes us through the life journey of 4 friends upon meeting in college up through adulthood, from 20 to 50. But one of the characters, the main character, went through a lot. Young man that went through a lot of physical, emotional, physical abuse. So, hell of a story. So don't get me wrong. The author is great. The story is great. I'm doing the audio. The narrator is great. All of that is good. Cooking. But it's tough. It's tough. And on that, we'll take a 30-second break and be right back. Welcome back. This is Unsolicited Genius. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Wherever you are, we are too. To our podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we out here. So like us, subscribe, follow, and share. If you vibe with what we do, somebody else out there will too. Shout out to the super producer, Joe Nitty. Thank you for making us sound good. Thank you for making us look good. Thank you for putting up with our shenanigans. Thank you to our sponsors, Legacy Wear. Your legacy awaits. You can get your sweatshirt, t-shirt fit out at www.legacywearus.com. Megacore CBD. Get that body feel good. Some broad spectrum hemp-derived CBD the way nature intended. You can find out more about them at www.megacorecbd.com. Thank you to Aura Rainwater. Hydrate and elevate. Learn more about how you can get you some of that good water at www.aurarainwater.com. And Carlton and his coaching, me, where I encourage you to be your light. Learn more about what I do and how I might be able to support you in your life efforts at www.carltonINNISSCO.com. Any shout outs you got, Brother Craig, before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Good to catch up with you and chop it up with you, bro. Can't wait till next week.
Uncle Mo said to tell y'all good night. He had to go get ready for the work day tomorrow. Special shout out to our frat brother Rand. We're proud of you.
Yeah.
Word is on the Memphis streets is they loving you, they supporting you. I was asked to relay that message to you. So keep it up, my brother. Keep it up. We're here for you, however which way it may go. So tonight's Thoughts of Genius, I thought I would bring us back to our earlier topic of love and romance. Because as we talk about the influence of social media, we talk about the generational evolution of this thing called love. It makes me think about instant gratification. Rare in any aspect of our life is instant gratification sustaining. Instant gratification in our food is rarely nutritional. Instant gratification in our achievements aren't as special. Instant gratification in relationships means that relationship may not be real. So when we talk patience, when we talk effort, when we talk work, the old adage that anything worth having is worth working for is true. Now, there comes a time where you may have to recognize that you're working too hard, that your work isn't being reciprocated, that your work isn't being appreciated. So follow your heart and make that judgment call. But for all of you that believe you want a partnership in life with somebody to do this thing with you, it does not happen overnight. You may meet them tonight, but what you're wanting for does not happen overnight. It takes effort, it requires commitment, and that happens over the course of time. So whether you get married at 6 weeks, 6 months, or after y'all been fooling around for 6 years, make your choice. But for you all to go the long haul, for to have that love that Wanye be singing about, is going to call something from you. Humble thyself and enjoy the ride. This has been another episode of Unsolicited Genius. Join us next week, same genius time, same genius channel. And for whenever you are, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Craig D. Molat. You are listening to Unsolicited Genius.